before we start talking about my freshman year, I got to set the stage for you guys, got to set the stage for what type of person, player I was at that time. I started playing basketball maybe around 3rd or 4th grade. Didn't make the 6th grade team, I don't believe. So 7th and 8th grade, moving into high school, was kind of the first time I was getting my feet wet with organized basketball outside of Upward on Sundays. Everybody get the little patch on your jersey. That's all I knew. So 7th and 8th grade, I was still trying to figure out the basketball thing, figure out if I'm actually really good at basketball, because at that time I was still in band and I was actually pretty good at band. So I had people telling me when I got to high school that I needed to join marching band and I needed to take band serious. So I was thinking, oh, should I pursue that? Also, my grades were good. So I'm like, all right, do I need to start to really focus on grades so I can get these academic scholarships? Basketball, I kind of wasn't that good. I'm still dropping passes. I'm missing wide open layups. I had no confidence. So basketball, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to make the high school team until I go to this one summer camp right before high school. Let me also make it a little bit easier for you guys to picture what I looked like around that time. This is what I was looking like. So I looked more like somebody who was in band than a basketball player, than an athlete. So you can understand why I was kind of like, oh, am I even going to play basketball in high school? Because I ain't looked the part at all. Back to the story. It's the night before the summer camp, and I knew that the high school head coach was going to be there. I knew that this is kind of going to be his first time evaluating the incoming freshmen, what we're going to look like, if we're even going to make the team. So I remember that night I'm Googling up moves because I'm a big, right? So I'm Googling up post moves, like what can I do? What moves can I do? Because I didn't have any post moves at all. I was just trying to think of, all right, what can I do out there that could potentially get me on the team once the season starts, once I actually get into high school. I show up to the camp. I remember I get it on the left block, and I don't remember who did this move. I take one dribble middle, show the ball, up and under, finish, right? And after I did it, I'm like, hold on, that move actually just worked, because the person, remember how young we all are, the kid, when I showed the ball, jumped out the way, so I got a wide open layup. Coach Sellers come up to me, who's head coach at Cal. Yeah, what grade you in? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to be a freshman this next year. He like, oh, okay. Okay, I remember I was so happy. I ran home to my dad. I was like, Dad, yeah. He asked who I was. Like, I might make the team. This is how unsure I was about my basketball career at the time. Fast forward to my first day of school, and I'll never forget this because I walked through the bus port. I'm also around maybe 6'3" at the time. I walked through the bus port, and I just see this one dude, like, at the end of the hallway staring me down. And I'm like, bro, why is this dude looking at me? Obviously, I'm a little bit taller than all the other freshmen, but I'm like, why is he just staring at me? And then it clicked for me. I'm like, oh, I think he on the basketball team, because I've came to some games before. I'm like, I think he played basketball. Like, I think he trying to intimidate me, whatever. I'm telling you, like, no lie, I'm watching this dude. He just staring me down as I walk into school on my first day. So I'm already kind of uneasy about the whole high school experience. Like, what if the older kids on the team really gonna try and get on me, try and haze me, bully me, whatever. So that's what I'm nervous about first day off the rip. The school year starts, and one of the reasons why I just told you what happened on my first day is when them off-season workouts started, and I knew that some of the older varsity players were gonna be at some of these off-season workouts. What would I do? Oh, coach, I got banned. Oh, coach, I gotta do this. I gotta go home. Like, I was avoiding off-season workouts my freshman year. It bled over into the actual season when, coach was asking me to go to varsity practice, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, I wasn't trying to go to none of the off-season workouts. I'm nervous. Like, I had no confidence at all, and I didn't want to be in any type of situation where, somebody could get on me and somebody could, make fun of how bad I was at basketball or whatever workouts we were doing. So I was just avoiding everything at that time. The season starts, we do tryouts and all that. I end up making the freshman team. The freshman team only, not freshman, swing JV, not freshman, but I sit the bench on JV. No, I just do freshman everything. I show up to freshman practices at 6 a.m. in the morning, and that's it. And honestly, I was good with that because I didn't want to be around any players that were that much better than me, because that would make me look really bad. And obviously, I was the tallest. Like I said, I was already like 6'3", so of course I was one of the tallest freshmen there. When we go play other freshman teams, I was one of the tallest players out there. So I really just didn't feel crazy challenged. It didn't really make me feel uncomfortable, if that makes sense. And it all changed when I had this one home game. I don't know what I was on that day. Even to this moment, I can't remember too many memories from that specific game in terms of being on the court. I just remember leaving the gym, going to our main gym to go watch varsity play. And I don't know if it was a parent, a coach. Somebody told me, like, yeah, you had a triple-double, or you almost had a triple-double. And I'm like, huh, I had what? Like, I didn't even realize I had that. Second thought I had after that was, I wonder how school's going to be the next day, because that was the first home game that I played well in. that there were actually people from my school that came to watch us play. So I was excited to see how school the next day was going to be, because like you see on TV, when dudes have a good game the next day at school, they all popular and this and that. So honestly, I was excited to see that. Third thought after that was, oh, once Sellers here, what you have, you ain't going to be on freshman much longer. Like, you going to have to play JV, varsity, whatever. Like, I don't know what's going to go on, but I knew that that game was extremely important to what was going to happen next. Surely enough, I will say this. I do remember one person came up to me the next day at lunch and told me good game. And I remember I was so happy about that, because that was the first time somebody actually acknowledged my play before. Like, for real, at least somebody from school. But also what I said was going to happen happened. So all of a sudden, I'm not just on freshman. I'm on freshman and I'm swinging JV, which means I'm going to freshman and JV practices. I think that that moment was one of the times where my entire career changed, because when I started going to JV practices, we had this JV coach, which was one of my teammates' dads. And when I tell you, he wasn't playing none of that, oh, like I just missed a layup, oh, I just dropped a pass. I remember I missed one layup and I missed another one and I missed another one. So it started getting in my head. He took a chair, put it in the middle of the court, had me sit on the chair, and had my teammates just running lines beside me until I can make a layup. It was like that, which is why I say, like, this is where my mindset kind of changed, and where I kind of realized, like, hey, you can't do none of that missing layups. I don't care if you're going to have to get in the gym and figure it out, but ain't none of that going to work no more. And also, that's the period where I dunked for the first time, because I had some incentive to stop missing all these layups. You better figure it out. Even if you have to start dunking, figure out something. You just ain't going to miss no layups and not have to sit in the middle of the court no more. So for the rest of my freshman year, I was still playing freshman, swinging JV towards the very end of the year, because I started getting better, because I had a coach that was holding me crazy accountable. So I did start to get better. I started playing a little bit more minutes on the JV side, less on freshman, but I was still playing both. Varsity coach was texting me from time to time, hey, come to practice after school. I'm doing just like I was doing with off-season workouts. Oh, coach, my phone died. I'm already on the bus. Oh, coach, I got to go to this, and that. Oh, coach, I got brand practice. Like, I'm coming up with all that because I was still so intimidated about playing at the varsity level. Even though I wouldn't be playing, just practicing, I was still so intimidated about that. Season ends, and I had a pretty solid year playing both freshman and JV. I did get a whole lot better. We'll talk about it more as I make the sophomore year video, but I was feeling a lot of pressure, not only from my coaches, from my teammates, parents, to play AAU the summer after my freshman year. But remember, I told you guys, even though I got better, I still wasn't really that good. And I really was like, okay, me and my parents were thinking, how much is actual playing gonna get me better when I still need to work on my fundamentals, when there still are some things about my game that I need to work on individually? So as a family, we decided that I'm not going to play AAU the summer after my freshman year. I'm just going to be training. We got a trainer. We're going to talk about who that person was and how significant he was to my career in that sophomore year video. I'm just picking back up from my freshman year video. If you guys don't remember, I spent most of my freshman year playing on the freshman team and playing on JV, and I was swinging. Towards the end of the year, I started to play more JV because I had good performances on the freshman team. Remember, I had the triple-double. Then my high school varsity coaches calling me, texting me, hey, come to varsity practice after school. And I told you guys, I was scared. Oh, coach, my phone died. I'm already on the bus. I can't make it today. Season starts to come to a close, and all of a sudden, what time of year is it for basketball players? It's AAU season, and I am a rising sophomore. And at this point in my basketball career, is when I made a decision that was serious. Everyone else in the Cal Boys High School basketball program was playing AAU that summer. I mean, every single player in my family had talked about it. We talked about how I had just performed this last year, and we were just putting all those things into account, how my confidence was on the court. And we came together as a family and decided that me, Brian Thomas II, was not going to play a lick of live basketball, AAU basketball at all that entire summer after my freshman year of high school. All I was going to do was train. And that decision didn't go over well with anybody. I'm talking about my high school coach was mad, like really mad, telling my parents I needed to be playing, telling me I needed to be playing. Literally, like, we'd be in off-season workouts. He'd be like, yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing with that trainer, this, and that. Like, this was serious. Plus, I got my teammates, obviously, some of their dads got AAU teams. So they in my ear, yeah, man, my dad just said you don't even have to pay, just come to practice. Like, we need you on the team. And they be posting highlights from their AAU games over the weekend. And yeah, you should have been there. This, and that happened. So at that point, I'm just thinking to myself, like, all right, B, did you make the wrong decision? Should you be playing right now? Is everybody else getting better than you? It looked like they're getting better than you, because when they come back to school over the weekend and they show me their AAU highlights, I'm like, man, I don't got no highlights, and I don't know how much better than them I'm actually getting right now with this training. Actually, the training versus actually playing games over the summer and the off season is a pretty important topic in the basketball space. A lot of parents, a lot of players struggle with that because they don't know which one to choose. Here's my stance on it, and here's how my decision affected me. The reason why, as a family, we were so comfortable going with the training route instead of going the AAU route. And keep in mind, when I say AAU, at this time in my career, there was no Adidas circuit. There was no EYBL. I didn't even know about that stuff. So the only AAU that I knew about was, like I said, my teammate's dad has a team. He's going to take us to some local tournaments around the area, and that's about it. I'm not really going to get exposure from that. Like I was saying, the reason why we went with the training is because of the trainer I was actually working out with. So if a person, a player, family comes up to me now and says, hey, which one should I do? Honestly, it depends on how good that player is at the time and how good the trainer is, because I've told you guys before, a lot of the trainers nowadays, they just want to get you in the gym with a film crew so they can put some cones out and record you doing NBA moves, knowing that those moves aren't translatable to the level that you're playing at, nor are they translatable to the collegiate level, which is where you want to play at. So it doesn't really work out. But the difference with me was we went to a trainer who already had, keep in mind what I'm saying, a set track record showing that he gets players better and he gets players to where they want to go. So for me, that first day when my dad said, get up, we're going to Carver College in Atlanta and we're going to work out with this guy named Coach Rolando Lamb, I didn't know who that was. I didn't know what was going on, but I show up to that gym and he goes through the whole spiel. He's telling me how he's America's character coach, and you know, he has a son by the name of Jeremy Lamb. If you guys don't know who that is, just know that he's been in the NBA for a little while now. You should know who he is. And Coach Lamb actually trained Jeremy throughout his entire basketball career, from when he was a kid all the way up to when he got drafted in the first round. So at that point in my career, it just made sense for me to go train with the guy who's already put one son in the NBA, and his other son actually played at the Division I level. So he's put two kids on scholarship at the D1 level. It made sense to go do that instead of, like I said, go play AAU, and I might not be getting that much better because I'm not working on my individual skills, and I know I'm not getting the exposure. Just made sense to go train with Coach Lamb. But those workouts he put me through, like, I was expecting something, I got something different. I was doing hurdles, I was doing ladders, I'm working on my hand-eye coordination with tennis balls. I'm doing all this. Wasn't expecting it. And at the time, remember, I told you guys, my teammates are coming back to school showing me highlights. And I'm like, man, they getting better than me. Like, I don't even know if what I'm doing is working. But what I do know is when I finish my workouts with Coach Lamb, which might only be 45 minutes to an hour, I'm laid out on the floor and I can't move. So I'm really laying there like, man, I should just be playing right now. What am I doing? Summer ends and I've played no live basketball at all, no AAU basketball, unless you want to count me playing outside with some of the kids in my neighborhood as live. That's the most live basketball I had played all summer. I was just working out with Coach Lamb that whole time. The season comes around, and I forgot to tell you guys this. Starting in the middle of that summer, I started to hear some rumblings from my teammates like, yeah, we about to get this transfer, and he's 6'7", and he's a big, and, you know, you're not playing AAU right now, so he about to take your spot when the season starts. And I'm like, man, I'm not hearing none of that. I'm saying to them, I'm not hearing none of that, but I'm trying to look up this dude highlights because he's a senior. And keep in mind, I'm in 10th grade. So all of a sudden, as a 10th grade basketball player, I have to go up against a 6'7" senior. Also, there's a 6'4" senior on varsity who was a big man, and he was athletic. Also, when I was a sophomore, I'm like 6'4" to 6'5". So I'm pretty much the same height as the one senior, and the other senior is bigger than me. So I'm really worried about it. We start to get to our first games, and lo and behold, I'm on JV. And I'm also on varsity, but here's the thing that kept throwing me off for the entire beginning of the year. I'd play JV, then it'd be a varsity game where my coach will give me a lot of minutes. Then it'd be a game where I don't dress JV and I just play varsity, and then it would be switched and it would be back and forth. Keep in mind, this is also at that same time where we're in varsity practice and coach stops the practice because I didn't dunk the ball. He throwing the ball in my chest, yelling, dunk the ball. So I was low-key feeling some type of animosity. Like, I guess he don't like me because I didn't play AAU. I was playing soft, but At a certain point, my mindset's starting to change, and I'm like, all right, he's not better than me. Why are you not playing me? He's might be a little bit taller than me, but I still don't think he's that much better than me. I should be getting on the floor. There would even be some games, I remember this specifically, at St. Pius High School in Georgia. I'm sitting on the bench. Sellers walk down the bench, looks me straight in my eyes, and tells that other 6'4" big to get in the game. I'll never forget that. Because that moment for me was one of those points in my career where I was just sitting back thinking to myself, like, I can't go for this no more. I'm not, like, I can't let these dudes play over me. Like, they just can't happen anymore. I actually ended up getting my opportunity to play more sooner than I thought. It didn't happen after, I just went into practice and I just dominated for a couple weeks and all of a sudden I was on the court and I was a starter. That's not how it happened. The 6'7" big that transferred in actually had a health issue that happened. So all of a sudden he was out for an indefinite amount of time and I had my opportunity to play more. With that new opportunity and with these new increased minutes, all of a sudden you started to see a progression in my game. All of a sudden I'm finishing better. I'm catching the ball better. I'm moving up and down the court better. I'm understanding the game better. I'm a way better athlete. And I didn't realize this until later in my career and, these last couple years, how much that decision to go train instead of playing AAU actually helped me. Because I didn't realize it when I was a 15-year-old laying out on the ground at Carver about to pass out, but I was getting better that whole time. I didn't turn into an NBA player. I didn't turn into a pro, but I was getting better. Every single time I stepped into that gym at Carver, I was getting better, and it started to show my sophomore year. As that 10th grade season came to a close, I stayed the starter for the rest of the year, didn't give up my spot. I also ended up growing. So like I said, I started that year probably around 6'4", ended it closer to probably around 6'6". So I was growing on and off the court. Also, I can't say I had many, crazy out of this world performances, but what I did do as a 10th grader when I was on varsity was show that I could hold my own, show that I can compete, and I showed flashes of a player that I could become later on down the line in my career, which is why on that one day, and this is when it's going to start to blend into that getting on the circuit video, Coach Sellers comes to me and our point guard, Kendrick, hey, we got this workout at Wheeler High School I want you guys to go to. Don't say nothing else. You guys can go watch the video for that story. As my sophomore season is ending, my head coach comes to me and he goes, on Saturday, you got this workout at Wheeler High School with Kendrick, who was our point guard on the team. He was pretty highly touted in the area. He's like, yeah, you got this workout at Wheeler on Saturday with Kendrick. Didn't tell me anything else, just told me a place and a time. So like I said, I walk in there completely blind, and I have to say this to everybody. This day is the point in my life where I knew that there was another level of basketball that I had never seen before, right? Remember, this is my sophomore year. I'm still in band. I go to Cal High School. We're still a football school at the time, so we only had maybe one D1 basketball player before me. Shout out Grant. So all I know are players that I've played with since I was younger, right? Just dudes that I've played with since the upward days. I walk into Wheeler High School, the old gym, not the new gym. I walk into the old gym at Wheeler High School, and it's a 5-on-5. It's a practice going on, obviously. I'm watching a big, I remember this specifically, name, shout out Jock. It was Jock. Get the rebound, coast to coast, punch like hard. And I'm watching, I think somebody else came down and dunked something else, and somebody else came down and shot a three. And I was looking at my dad. Honestly, my dad will tell you, I looked at him, I'm like, where are we? Like, I think I'm in the wrong spot, because these kids I'm not as good as them, like nowhere close, right? Go talk to what eventually became G. I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, yeah, what's this? He said, this our 15U. I was 16 at the time. I was 16 and I just saw the 15-year-olds. This is before my workout, by the way, my first workout. So I just saw 15-year-olds go crazy. So now he just said that was our 15U. So now I'm nervous before my workout, right? I'm nervous because now I'm like, yeah, I think you got the wrong guy. Like I'm not that good. I'm sorry. My workout starts. I actually have a picture from the actual workout. I'm gonna put it right here that my dad actually took on the sideline of me and Kendrick, right? And G's in that picture. Of course, like I said, I didn't know who it was at the time. Finished the workout. G comes up to me. Yeah, I got this program here named Game Elite. Of course, I didn't know anything about outside of, mom and pop AAU. I didn't know anything about that, right? So he goes like, Game Elite, yeah, we play on the Adidas circuit, saying words that I'm not sure. Like, I don't know really what's going on, but I'm like, yeah, okay. He just says, yeah, we're going to start practice on this date. Be at Ron Anderson Community Center. If you're from Atlanta, you know by Ron Anderson. He said, be at Ron Anderson on this date, this time, da-da-da-da. We're going to get started from there. I show up to my first practice at Ron Anderson, and I'm going to be honest, I'm sitting in the car like, nervous out of my mind, because in my head, it's like before my workout, I watch 15U practice and these dudes look ridiculous. Like, and I don't think I'm that good. So imagine what the team I'm on, 16U, looks like, right? They're probably that much better. So I'm nervous. Obviously, I end up getting in the gym. We start practice. And actually, you know, as we're going through it, I start to realize, like, okay, maybe you're not giving yourself enough credit. Maybe you can play at this level. We won't talk about practices too much, you know, don't want to give away the Game Elite secrets. There's one thing I do want to talk about, though. After my first practice, I even got a picture of this, too. I went home with this. All of this after my first practice. Remember what I said. All I know of AAU is mom and pops. You know, you pay your teammate's dad $600. He give you some shoes, socks, string bag, you know, shooting shirt, Crep Protect for your shoes. I'm really talking about something if you know something, right? You give them $600, $700, $1,000 and you get all that. All of a sudden, I get all this stuff for free. For free. At the time, the AAU circuit or shoe teams, it was kind of like a hidden world. Like, you would only know if you played or if you knew somebody. Nowadays, with the camera, social media, everybody know about 3SSB, you know, EYBL. But at the time, it was kind of this hidden thing. So I was literally in shock. Like, you're going to give me all this and all I got to do is show up. So now let's talk about when I showed up for that first game. So like I said in part one, the Game Elite workouts, practices, all of that was so intensive. Like, was really like, it was real work we were putting in the gym. We'll talk about the first live period. Going into that, I had some level of confidence because for the last couple of weeks, I'd never put in that much work in my life. Like, the type of stuff we were doing in there was crazy. Like tile pushes. If you know, you know. I know, you know, our high school program that I'm at now, like, they know about that personally from me. I know they hate me for it, but I took that from G. So going into my first live session, I have some semblance of confidence, but at the same time, I'm still kind of nervous because I have no idea what to expect, right? I'm not sure which session was first when I was on 16U because we played in Dallas, Indy, I think it was somewhere else, and then of course Vegas, right? I remember, again, it's kind of crazy, same thing like when I first walked in for the Game Elite workout. I remember walking into my first live session, the first live session I'd ever been to, ever seen in my life, and I was legitimately in shock. Like, just to see that many players, and when I say players, I mean like players, like walking around. I remember walking around Suwannee and I see Bol walking around Suwannee. Bol. At this point, I think I must be like 6'6", 6'7", so I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty tall for my age, and I'm looking at him, Bol, younger than me, walking around, and I'm like, bro, this is crazy. Like, this is where I'm at now. Like, this is where these players have been my entire life because I've never seen them before. Not to mention, this is the reason why, you know, my story times are a little different. Like, throughout my career, I don't know what it was. I would just always take pictures. I think it might have been me or my dad, right? He took this picture right here of Coach K and the next coach of Duke for, I think he starts this year, Coach John Shire. Like, I remember that, like seeing them courtside. And when you see all these top coaches, you see Calipari, everybody in my first live session, honestly, this is when the nerves started to kick in. And all of a sudden I've never played in front of coaches before. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Keep in mind when I'm saying this, I'm seeing Calipari and K. I'm seeing them like walking around watching other people. They weren't at our 16U games. And to be honest, like, I say that when I was playing 16U, probably the most amount of coaches we probably had was maybe 7 to 8. Like, it wasn't how it was a year later, but at the time, just those 7 to 8 coaches for my first couple live periods. I will say it was an adjustment period, of course, you know, playing against higher level competition. But also I had to learn how to play in front of coaches and not think whenever I miss a layup, oh, did he write that down? Or like, are they not going to recruit me? Or, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I still was having problems catching passes. I might drop a pass and I'm like, bro, I'm never going to college. Like, I'm never going to college. Keep in mind what I said. Some of my teammates already had offers. So I'm looking at them kind of like, you know, we're the same age. We're in the same grade. You have offers. You have stars next to your name. And I don't have anything, right? So I'm like, maybe I'm behind the 8 ball. Maybe this basketball thing isn't for me. Like, this is also when I started having that mindset, like, yeah, you know, maybe I should have played, you know, for my teammate's dad, at least on that team. I get all the touches. I can score a lot more points. I might not be playing in the greatest of tournaments, but I get to touch the ball and I feel like I'm a part of something, like a part of the team. Game Elite, like, yeah, we were playing in front of the coaches in the right tournaments, but, you know, I wasn't really making a huge impact. A couple weeks later, we're playing in Suwannee Sports Academy, Court 7, which is kind of crazy. This is why you got to be paying attention throughout the whole, like, story time, because everything kind of built on each other. Like, there were a lot of quote unquote coincidences, playing this team by the name of the South Carolina Hornets, right? I go to the tip. I'm lining up against a kid. He's like 6'3", 6'4", not too swole, but he's kind of big, but he's the tallest player on their team, tallest player. And I'm the center on our team, so I'm like, oh yeah, I got him. Tip goes up, the kid gets it, right? And I start seeing him running like around, like this way, right, towards the rim. Let's just say the rim is like right here. I'm starting to see him running from half court, which is going to be back here. So I'm chasing him, and then all of a sudden I see him look up. So I turn around and I see the ball in the air. Second I turn back around, look at him, boom. No lie. I turn to one of my teammates. One of y'all got him. The craziest thing is that player turned out to be Zion Williamson, right? And because that team was the South Carolina Hornets, I didn't realize this until years later. You know who else was probably on that team? We just didn't know him at the time because he wasn't who he is now. Ja. Keep that in mind. Keep that story in mind. We played Z when he was 15U playing against us 16U. Keep that story in mind, right? It might not seem like it's important now. Just keep that in mind. So then we go to Vegas, right? I'm going to be honest. I went into Vegas with no offers. Some of my teammates went into Vegas with no offers. After maybe our first couple games, some of my other teammates who had none with me got an offer. I was like, bro, like I can't get nothing. And I'm hooping. Like I've never been like a big scorer. I've been more of the, the hustle guy, the, rim runner, getting a lot of rebounds, block shots. But in Vegas, my 16U AAU season in Vegas, I'm picking and popping. I'm shooting mid-range jumpers. I got a clip of it right here. I will never lie. I'm shooting, step backs off the block, all type of stuff. Like I'm doing all this. So I'm thinking, man, I'm getting an offer for sure. I even had one of my assistant coaches on our team told me, like, after a game, like, you're going to get your first offer after this session. Like, you know that, right? I'm like, yeah. Like, I know. I get back from Vegas, and when I tell you I'm on my phone all day, every day, looking at my phone screen all day, waiting for a call, a text message, a Twitter follow, a Twitter DM, an email, I don't care what it is. I was just waiting for some school to get in contact with me because it was like, bro, I just hooped like in Vegas. Somebody has to reach out. Around June 15th, a little bit after that, I got one call from like the University of Vermont, right? That was it. At that time, I'm still training a little bit, but I'm like, bro, what am I training for? Like this basketball thing, I don't know if it's for me. Like I just really don't know. After I had just played in Vegas and I still didn't get any more calls, at this point is really when I'm like, all right, I don't think basketball is for me. Like I think I need to, start to lean into academics because I don't think athletics is going to be, my path. So here's what I did. We had a Game Elite workout on a Sunday. We were supposed to be going after church. Woke up that Sunday earlier than usual. Laid in bed for a little bit, was really like thinking about it and was like, yeah, you know what? I'm done. Like I'm not getting any offers. Like I'm done, right? Going to my parents' room and I tell them I'm done playing basketball. Like, their rule was you have to play at least one sport. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. I don't care if I gotta, go swim or something. Of course, I didn't know how to swim at the time. I'm like, bro, I'll go swim. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. I just don't want to play basketball anymore. They go, okay. Get a black trash bag and go round up everything Game Elite has ever given you. I'm talking about shoes, socks, compressions, track suits, whatever it was. I put everything in a black trash bag. After church, we pull up to Wheeler High School. Keep in mind, this is during the workout. So I'm walking in with a trash bag. People kind of looking at me like, why you got a trash bag with him? My whole family walking there. G actually step out of the workout for a couple moments to talk to us. We go in the Coach Lip office. Coach Lipscomb, shout out Coach Lipscomb, legendary coach for Wheeler, if you guys didn't know. So we walk into his office and we sitting there and I'm telling G, what's up? I'm like, yeah, like, I don't think basketball is for me. I don't think I can hoop anymore. Like, here's your stuff. Like, tried to hand him the bag. He wouldn't take the bag. Basically, what he was explaining to me was how much potential I had, how much he saw in me, how good he could see me becoming. And then he says this phrase that I will never forget. He says this phrase to me that I will never forget ever. Keep in mind that story that I told a while ago. He tells me, he says, he's like, just give me one more year. You're going to be the anchor of a Rolls Royce team. That's the exact phrase G told me. You're going to be the anchor of a Rolls Royce team. Like, thank God I listened to him. And this is where we really got started. So if you guys can remember, after I ended that first summer session with 0 offers, I was ready to quit. I came to the AAU director ready to quit. He convinced me to play one more year. So when I started my junior year of high school, I was kind of like in this weird limbo because I just was thinking about quitting. Honestly, was ready to quit because I felt like I was working out as much as I could and I was playing the best that I could on the court. And in my head, when I didn't get that offer after that first summer session, but all my teammates did, that kind of signified to me like, okay, maybe my best isn't good enough. Maybe my best isn't good enough to get an offer. So I'm going into that junior year kind of unsure of myself, like, okay, I promised my AAU director I'll give him one more year AAU. So most likely I'll play my junior year of high school. I'll play that summer of AAU after. And if I have 0 offers after that, it's officially shut down. I'm not playing anymore because at that point, I really know that my best isn't good enough. I won't lie though, I did have a little bit of hope because like I said in those videos, I did get one call from the University of Vermont. On that phone call, they didn't sound too crazy interested, but I was like, at least they called me. So I know that at least one school is kind of sort of interested. So maybe if I just give a little bit more, if I push a little bit more, if I fight a little bit more and just work out every day and really focus, lock in for one more year, just give it one more year, maybe I can finally get that first scholarship offer. So for the beginning of my junior year, I was working out. I was in the gym. At some point, I think my AAU coaches were kind of making some calls for me or talking because all of a sudden I'd have certain schools here and there come see me work out in the morning, come see me work out after school. It was always assistant coaches though, never head coaches, never got the scholarship after. I remember specifically there were some workouts I used to have in the morning. I'm not even a shooter like that, but I was making every mid-range jump shot, every jump shot I was taking. Like I was looking nice. So I'm thinking sometimes, I know they're going to give me an offer after this workout. Like they got to call me over afterwards. Oh yeah, man, like that was a really good workout. You know, I just had to come see you work out. And I just wanted to let you know in person that we're really interested in you. And I had one specific school that came to see me work out twice in the morning. Twice, the same dude came to see me work out, still didn't give me that offer. So you can imagine as we're starting to get towards December of my junior year and I still don't have an offer yet, I was honestly sitting there thinking to myself, like, you said you'd give it one more year of working out and pushing through, but it's December and you've been working out for coaches and you've been playing better and you still don't have any offers. So at that point, I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, is it something that I'm doing wrong? Is it something, am I not working hard enough? Am I not working the right way? But one thing I did know is in December, there were 2 important tournaments that I knew that there were going to be coaches at. The first one we were going to was called the Adidas Explosion. We talked about it before on the channel. At the time, it was one of the major tournaments in Georgia, had some of the top teams in Georgia and in some of the neighboring states. So it had some of the top players, top recruits, top talent, which means that I knew that there were going to be a lot of coaches, scouts, evaluators at that game. And then after that, we had something called the Lake City Classic. I think that was at Hillgrove. It was a little bit smaller of a tournament, but I still knew that coaches were going to be there as well. So those 2 tournaments, I kind of marked off in my head, like I need to play well. There are going to be coaches there. If you play well there, you have an opportunity to get recruited, to finally get a scholarship offer. In that Adidas Explosion game, I had 17, 15, and 12. So after that, I'm on top of the world. Not to mention, there were mostly high major recruiters at that game, and I had a lot of mid-majors recruiting me. So I'm like, I just played well in front of high majors. If the high majors don't offer me, I know some of the mid-majors that were recruiting me are going to offer me off that performance. No, going to the Lake City Classic, coaches on the baseline, coaches coming to see me play. I played well in every single game in that tournament, and I'm leaving that tournament thinking, especially after Hoop Scene actually put out an article about me after that tournament. And I forgot to mention to you guys, obviously I was one of the top performers in the Adidas Explosion. So this was back-to-back tournaments. Hoop Scene said I played extremely well. So I'm thinking I know I'm getting an offer in the next couple of days. No, which is why I'm making this video for you guys, because like I said, I know there are a lot of y'all who feel like you played good in this tournament and that tournament and that tournament, and there were coaches there and there were coaches there to see you play, and they still won't give you an offer. You're just going to have to keep going. And after those 2 tournaments, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really was distraught. I was low. I didn't know what was going on because, again, I thought that I decided to play one more year and I decided to give it one more and give it maximum effort and, really give it my best. And I was playing well in tournament after tournament at the tournament, and it still didn't happen for me. What I didn't realize, and this is why I harp to y'all so much about worrying about putting one foot in front of the other and not worrying about what's going to happen in the future, because you're not going to know in the moment how things are working together for your good, even when you don't realize it. So what I didn't know is that by playing well in those 2 tournaments in December, and Hoop Scene took notice to that, they invited me to the Elite Preview, which was going to be in March. The Elite Preview was when Hoop Scene invited some of the top basketball players in Georgia and in some of the neighboring states in the South to Sewanee Sports Academy to like an elite camp type of deal where we did drills, a lot of scrimmages, had a lot of instruction. But remember, this is all the way in March, and they set the invite at the end of December, beginning of January. So I'm like, okay, we got a couple weeks left of the high school season. I was still playing well at the high school level, but our team really wasn't that good. We were good, but we weren't winning state good. We ended up getting to the first round of the state playoffs and losing. So we finally get to March, the Elite Preview. I was so nervous, so unsure of myself. I had no confidence going into the Elite Preview because there were so many players in that camp going in there with offers. And it was March after my junior year, and I still had 0. So I'm really thinking now I must not be that good. I'm just going to go in here. Obviously, I'm not going to be the most skilled. I'm not going to be the most talented player there. I know I'm really nervous, but all I can do is just go in there and try and give it my all and really play hard on defense, things like that. Just try and make an impact any way I can, because honestly, I didn't think anything would come out of it because I just played all those tournaments and played well. I'm going into this Elite Preview with elite players, and I know I'm not at that level because I have 0 offers. So we'll just go in here and see what happens. Long story short, the Elite Preview ends, and I'm going home thinking I just played okay. Like, I made a couple defensive plays, made some high motor plays, blocked some shots. But for the most part, I definitely don't think I'm getting an offer from this because there were no coaches there, only scouts, evaluators. A couple days later, articles come out from the Elite Preview, and guess who's one of the top 10 players in the camp? Fast forward a couple months, like my name's starting to buzz a little bit. I still haven't got my first offer. As we're getting into AAU season, first couple practices, AAU, one specific practice, kid shows up, but this kid is like 6'5". His face looks familiar. And I'm like, aren't you the kid from? Yeah. What Zion Williamson did that one practice with Game Elite, it was some stuff we'd never seen before, honestly. And this is all my teammates, everybody. When he drove down for that one practice at Wheeler, what he did in that gym was some stuff we hadn't seen before. So for me, that was kind of confirmation. Like, bro, G wasn't lying to me. Like, G was not lying. It's really a Rolls Royce team. We had Darius Perry, he went 4-star, went to Louisville straight out of high school. Elias Harden, 4-star, went to Xavier straight out of high school. We had Ticket, DeAndre Ballard, went to Florida straight out of high school. We had Z at the 4, of course, and then we had me at the 5. That was our starting 5. So we had high major starting 5. Of course, I'm the only player that ended up going mid-major. Before it finally starting to click in my head, like, okay, like I said, G wasn't lying to me. I'm going to have an opportunity to get an offer because with that starting 5 I just named, I told you guys before, like the 7-8 coaches that we had on 16U, 17U turned into 20, 30 at every single game. I mean, every single game. And this is where we'll get back into that conversation about, okay, should I go join a EYBL, 3SSB, UAA team, or should I stay with a non-sponsor team? Because for that 17U year, our first session was in Dallas. And I remember specifically like those 3 starters that were 4-stars and Z was the 5-star. After every game, they got interviewed by the Adidas media 24/7. Like it really didn't matter. Like they were getting all 4 of them interviews, camera, you know what I'm saying, microphone, recording, all type of stuff. Still don't have any offers. Not getting a lot of touches, of course, with the roster I just named. So I got to show my work to coaches by doing what? Rim running, playing defense, you know what I'm saying? Like showing that I have energy out there on the court. That's how I have to show my work. So I'm still thinking, should I? But at the same time, I'm playing in front of, like I said, 30, 40 coaches. We got everybody in the gym whenever we play watching us. So at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're not getting that, but everybody's eyes are on you. At some point, something's got to break. Funny enough, my first offer didn't come, after a game and I got a phone call, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship. It didn't come after a practice and my AAU coach pulled me to the side. Yeah, so-and-so said they really like you. They want to extend the offer to you. No, I had a scheduled workout with Wofford University after school. My high school head coach tells me, the head coach of Wofford is coming to see you work out after school, right? Because I've done a lot of workouts. I had done a lot of workouts that entire junior season. A lot of schools that came in the morning saw me work out after school, but I still had never gotten an offer because it was all assistant coaches, right? This is the first time a head coach is coming to Cal High School, you know what I'm saying, to watch me work out. So that whole day I'm excited because I'm like, this could be the day I can get my first offer. I'm nervous, of course, but at the same time, it's like, this could be the day. Get into school at 3:30. I go down to the gym. I'm happy. I'm I'm nervous, but like I said, I'm excited. Get my shoes on. I'm warming up. I'm ready to go. The head coach of Wofford walks into the gym, right? He walks into the gym. He doesn't even come all the way on the court. He stays closer to the doors, right? He's like, yeah, Brian, like, yeah, come here, like, I swear, it was crazy. He just tells me, he goes, yeah, you know, I don't need to see you work out. I just wanted to come and tell you in person that we wanted to extend you a full scholarship offer. When I was like, what I just did just now, silence, that's how I was for a couple seconds. Like, I was in shock. I'm like, bro, this dude, he don't even need to see me work out. He just gonna offer me a scholarship. So, of course, in his face, I've tried to play it cool, you know. Oh, yeah, man, like, I really appreciate it. Like, it means a lot, coach, like, all the work I've been putting in. He literally was only there for 15 minutes. The second he hit the door, I was running. When I tell you I'm running laps around the gym, full speed, screaming at the top of my lungs, happier than anything. Like, that's one of the happiest days I've ever had. Like, I was just so excited to finally have my first offer. Second I get my first offer and it hits Twitter that Brian Thomas has been offered by Wofford University, my phone is blowing up. We wanted to be the first one to offer you. We wanted to Hey, I'm coming to your high school tomorrow. I swear I had 2 schools come to Cal High School within the next 3 to 4 days. I think after I got that first one, within a week, I probably had maybe 4 or 5, maybe after a week, like offers, like full rides. In my head though, I understand that, you know, every other starter on my AAU program has high major offers, right? When you looked at our state rankings, I was at the time maybe number 17. The 16 players that were ranked ahead of me all had high major offers. So now I'm like, bro, you know, I got Clemson, Georgetown, like I'm getting mail from UGA, LSU, all over, right? But I still don't have that first high major one. It was kind of like a tweener in terms of recruiting because I was a 6'7" center who was athletic. So depending on the high major conference, I might be able to get away with being a little smaller because I am athletic, but my build and my athleticism is made for the mid-major, you know, level. So I was kind of fringe. I would have a lot of high majors that were interested. They just wouldn't pull the trigger and offer me, right? They were coming in July. So that's what I was thinking about. I had all my, you know, mid-major offers and I'm looking at them. I'm really doing research. I took a couple visits, you know, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm eyeing some high major offers that I want to get. June comes around. We all know June is dead period in terms of recruiting. So I'm playing with my high school team. We got summer league. So we got a summer league game. I forget what day it is. I had already actually played a couple summer league games prior. Like this was maybe probably middle of June. It's at Cal. So I get to the school early. I'm getting ready for the game, you know, warming up on the side, You know, we start layup lines. You know how layup lines is. One line has the ball. One line is rebounding. So I'm in the line with the ball, going to shoot the layup. My teammates are rebounding. And I go and shoot the layup. And I come down, land on my teammate's foot. All I hear is pop. After I heard the pop for the first time, initially, I didn't feel anything. So I thought I was okay. And I start running, you know, towards the rebounding line. And all of a sudden, like, my foot is on fire. Like, on fire. What I do, I'm never a quitter. And in my head, I remember, like, I was still thinking, like, nah, like, you don't have time to be hurt. You have to play next month in July to get the rest of your high major offers that you want so badly. I end up just going on the side court and I'm running up and down like with my foot on fire because in my head it was like, bro, you do not have time to get hurt. Like you do not have time for any of this. And I was not trying to quit. So I was trying to push it to play, but my foot is on fire. And at a certain point, it was like, all right, B, like you can barely walk now. You probably made it worse by doing all this running. After I leave the gym, we go straight to the hospital. I think I'm there for maybe 2-3 hours. I get the x-ray, this and that. Like, and I'm still in my uniform. So I'm laying in the hospital, you know, with my uniform on for hours afterwards, get the x-ray. Like I said, doctor comes back in the room. You know, he asks me like the general questions, things like that. And then he flips the screen and he shows me, if you guys want to see any of the pictures of my actual injury, go check out my, you know, my injury video that's actually on the channel. Flips the screen, shows me and my parents. He's like, okay, you have a break in your 5th metatarsal. So what your 5th metatarsal is, you know, like on your hand, Your fifth is your outside bone on your foot. So with my right foot, my outside bone on the outside of my right foot, that's what I broke. Not to mention that he also says the fifth metatarsal is also one of the points on the body that gets the least amount of blood flow. So in my head, I'm like, all right, so I don't know, like what you're telling me. You're telling me I broke it and it doesn't have good blood flow. So the recovery time is actually pretty long. The doctor there recommended us to an orthopedist who had like a track record of working with athletes before. So we go to him. And for this part of the story, for all my athletes, it doesn't even have to be basketball. If you're watching this when dealing with injuries, make sure you're paying attention to what I'm saying in terms of, vetting the doctor that you're going to initially and, making sure he really understands what he's talking about. We go to this orthopedist, of course he says the same thing. I broke my fifth metatarsal. But what he says is, even though the first doctor, said that the blood flow to that area is bad, this orthopedist tells me and my family, if we just put him in a boot and he just doesn't do anything for the next couple of months, he should be ready for the first game of his senior year, which is on November 20th. There's a reason why I will never forget that date, right? That's what he tells me and my family, the orthopedist that we were recommended. Because, he was recommended and he had, an athletic track record, me and my family, we just went with what he said. We're like, okay, so I don't need surgery. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to immobilize my foot, put it in a boot. Obviously, I couldn't play in the July period. No basketball at all. From around the end of June up until maybe about September, October, I'm in a boot, right? So what that means is no basketball, no nothing. This is where we're going to talk about, the impact that actually had on my recruiting, because I couldn't play in July. And remember what I said, I had all these high major schools coming to see me. What I found out was that the mid-major schools, the schools that had already made me a priority, that extended offers to me, they didn't care about the injury. They didn't care that I broke my foot. They were still calling me, texting me every day. They still wanted to get me out on visits. So I took some mid-major visits during that time where I couldn't play at all. But the high major schools, the high majors, remember that I said wanted to come see me play in July. All of a sudden, I'm not getting those calls anymore. I'm not getting those text messages. And this is when I started to realize, like, okay, you really need to make sure you're going where you're needed, not wanted. At the mid-major level, I was needed. They needed me on the roster. They didn't care if I got hurt. They needed me there, so they wanted to let me know that. At the high major level, they didn't need me. They wanted me. Yeah, if I perform well in July, we'll throw him an offer. He might play a little bit. He won't be a priority, a starter, but we'll just have him on the roster, right? So when I got hurt, what happened? Oh, we don't even need to call him, text him anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just weren't even worried about me. It's like I was a number. In fact, there was this one specific instance that kind of let me know that, okay, at the high major level for me specifically, I was probably just going to be a number among the masses, while at the mid-major level, I was going to be a priority recruit, be able to play big minutes early on. I don't remember where I was. I get a phone call. Unknown number, never seen the number before, don't know the area code or anything. I'm like, who is this? Answer the phone. Hey, Brian, it's Coach so-and-so from the University of Cincinnati. And in my head, I'm like, Cincinnati? I don't remember them coming to any of my games. Like, I don't remember any of that, right? He tells me, he's like, yeah, we've been checking up on you and we just wanted to call and let you know that, you have a spot here if you want it. This is exactly what he said. I'm going to take you through this conversation verbatim. He goes, yeah, we got a spot here if you want it. And at the time, I understood the whole half offer versus the real offer thing. So I said, are you guys offering me a full scholarship? This is what I said on the phone. I asked him, I'm like, yeah, so are you guys offering me a full scholarship? He kind of hesitated and he's like, yeah. Of course, at the time, I'm like, yeah, coach, I really appreciate it. That means a lot to me, I hang up the phone, right? But in my head, I'm thinking, bro, I remember our games. I do not remember Cincinnati seeing me play not one time. So at that point, I just started to realize, like, this really is a business. What Cincinnati just did was they had a big man that they wanted, a recruit that they wanted. They didn't get him. He obviously committed somewhere else. So they had an open roster spot. So they started looking around and probably called a couple people like, yeah, what big man do you think is good enough for our level that can fill a roster spot? So they just called me out of the blue without seeing me, actively recruiting me, and just said, yeah, you have a spot here. Not, we need you here, He literally said, no, we have a spot for you. Honestly, for me, after that situation, it kind of put me off towards high majors. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going high major. Like, y'all didn't want me anyway. Y'all just wanted to wait until July to see if I was kind of good enough to play at your level. Y'all don't need me. Y'all just want me, kind of want me, not even for real want me. So I was off a high major. So what happened was late August, I ended up committing to Florida Gulf Coast University. And this was a week after my official visit. The reason I committed so fast, and I've never said this publicly, it was a bunch of different things. You got to think about it. I'm just coming off my injury. I'm still in the boot. I can't play yet, right? I just have the high majors are basically letting me know we don't need you. If you're there and available, we would take you, but we don't need you, right? So I'm kind of mad about that. High majors don't want me. Okay, I'm going mid-major then. Like, that's what I'm doing. I go to Gulf Coast, shout out Coach Dooley, and he shows me player by player who's leaving, who's coming in, puts it on a whiteboard and shows me this is the opportunity you're going to have to earn minutes. Notice what I'm saying. This is the opportunity you're going to have to earn minutes. They're not going to be given to you. None of that. You actually have to come in and beat somebody out of a spot. And he also just let me know, along with the whole coaching staff, how much they needed me in their program. There's one more thing that added into that. This was smart as a coach to do this, right? I'm on my visit, and there's a big from Georgia who's going to take a visit to Gulf Coast a week after my official, right? But the assistant coach from Gulf Coast is telling me, like, yeah, he's going to visit. I think he really likes us. He might commit on his visit, right? He might. He did that on purpose, obviously. But as a kid, I'm like, I'm better than him, so he's not about to take my spot. This was added into it, obviously. So all of that together contributed towards me committing so early in August. There were still maybe one or two high majors that was kind of in my phone saying, oh, yeah, we'll come check you out when you're healthy in the fall. But I was like, I'm not waiting on y'all. No, I'm not a priority. I'm going to commit. Part of the reason why I say my story is crazy because I thank God I committed in late August. After I committed, of course, the fanfare, everything, congratulations. I'm doing a lot of rehab, trying to get back in shape to get ready for my first game in my senior year, which is that's what the orthopedist said I would be ready. Like, that's when he said I would be ready by my first game in my senior year. I will not lie. I started, playing a little bit earlier than I should, but that's what any athlete does that actually wants to get back on the court. November 20th comes around and we're playing Sprayberry, a rival for Kel. Kind of nervous, but I'm kind of feeling good. I've actually put on some weight. So before I got hurt, I was probably 230 something. By the first game of my senior year, I'm like 250, right? So I'm bigger. It's a little bit of fat in there, obviously, because I'm coming off an injury. Game starts at halftime. I got 13 points, so I'm feeling good. Remember what I've always said, never been a scorer. So 13 points at half for me, that's a lot. Third quarter comes around, I'm ready for it. I'm pumped. Like I said, I done scored a pretty good amount in the first half, so I'm ready for the second half. I can literally see this in my head. Sprayberry's coming down. They try to pass the ball to one of my old Kel teammates, Marshall, who actually ended up transferring to Sprayberry. I step in front of the pass, I steal it, I throw it ahead to one of my guards, and I take a step with my right foot afterwards, pop. In the moment, I heard the pop, but I'm like, there's no way that just happened again. I keep running, I get the drop off, I get fouled, right? I get fouled. Keep in mind, my adrenaline is running. I'm walking to the free throw line, and I'm trying to walk. It hits me like, you just broke it again. And I mean, when I say again, I mean same spot, same everything. So I'm walking to the free throw line limping, and honestly, like, I start crying as I'm walking to the free throw line. I shoot my free throws, I actually make them. I go to the bench, and I'm bawling my eyes out. My head coach actually tells me to go to the training room because I'm crying like bad, because at this point, I think my career is over with. I'm like, bro, you just broke it twice in the same year. Like, it's kind of crazy to talk about now. Like, I broke it like within 6 months twice. Broke the same foot within 6 months twice. So I'm just sitting there, I'm crying. We go to a different orthopedist, and this is what I want you guys to take note of when I'm talking about the differences between these two doctors, right? The first one, I said he had a track record with athletes, but I didn't think about the level of athletes. The first one was not used to working with elite level college athletes. He wasn't used to that. So in his head, he isn't thinking longevity, any of that, right? He's used to working with, middle school, high schoolers who might not, they're not trying to play in college. The second doctor I went to had specifically worked with D1 athletes, college athletes in general, and pros. So he understood when I walked into there, he should have gotten that surgery the first time, especially knowing that he was going to gain weight after the surgery. Like I said, I went from 230 something to 250. That's all that extra weight. I ended up getting the surgery. They did put a screw in my foot that's still in there to this day. I haven't had any other problems with it. For that rest of my senior year, though, I'm riding around on a scooter. Like, I had my foot in the cast. I got one leg up, and I'm just kicking with the other leg. They actually let me out of my classes 5 minutes earlier. So I'm zooming through the hallways. I did actually end up making it back for the last game of my senior year. It was a first round playoff game But by that point, like I said, I broke my foot twice. I'm still trying to get back in shape. I haven't played live in X amount of games, so I was rusty. Didn't play that well. We did end up losing, so that was the last game I ever played in high school. After that, of course, I'm still trying to get back in shape because I had to show up on campus at Florida Gulf Coast in June. So as you guys remember, I broke my foot for the second time, first game of my senior year of high school. Ended up coming back for that final game of my senior year, which was that first round playoff game that we lost. That was early February. My report date for, college was mid-June. In those 4 to 5 months in between, granted, I didn't want to do too much impact because I was scared I was going to break my foot again, but I was still getting in the gym. I'm getting up shots, I'm playing pickup. I'm doing this, and that. But here's what I want to tell you guys before we even talk about when I got there, a gem for any incoming freshmen before you even step foot on campus. And it could potentially help you a little. I'm not going to lie. There's nothing to prepare you for when you first get there, but it can help you a little. And that's too, when you go in the gym and you're practicing, go 100% the entire time, game speed. And what you're doing right now, you might think you're in the gym going 100%. I promise you, you're not, because once you go to college, and they make you do every single thing at 100%. I'm talking about you got a water break, you better run over there or we on the line. Like consistently, I'm telling you, I would make sure you're in that gym doing everything 100%. Because I'm about to tell you what it's like when you show up. Come in there, they tell me one of my first workouts is 45 minutes, right? 45 minutes. So in my head, I think a 45-minute workout, and it's a group of 4 or 5 bigs, position workout. I'm like, oh, this is about to be easy, just 45 minutes? Like, that's it? When I tell you that was the hardest basketball workout I had done in my life up to that point, 45 minutes. And you know why? Like I just said, everything was full speed, like big after big after big, drill after drill after drill. Like there was no breaks, After that workout, I lie to you not, I take my shirt and I wring it out. This has never happened to me before. I take my shirt and I wring it out. It looked like a pool. And I'm laying on the locker room floor like, what did I just get myself into? I'm being so serious. That summer is basically, positional workouts. You got your team workouts. You might have a scrimmage, obviously pickup. I was playing pretty well. Like I was still, 250, 260. So I had a little bit of weight on me, of course, after my injury. So I'm a physical presence in the paint. I'm playing pretty well defensively. I'm flying around, blocking shots. And my teammates are telling me, because I'm low-key feeling myself, I'm not going to lie. Teammates are telling me, yeah, no, you just got freshman legs. Like, you just got freshman legs. You got high school bounce. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? High school bounce? Like, I'm really like that. Not to mention, I forgot to say this. I was actually the #1 incoming, rated recruit for the conference. So I'm low-key feeling kind of confident at the time. After that first week, I figured out exactly what they were talking about. That weekend, after our first week of workouts, I didn't move. I swear I didn't move except to go to the calf to get food. That next week, though, when I talk about sore, literally, it was like my bounce went from here to here. Like my legs, arms, every muscles I didn't even know I had was sore. And the difference in college is you got the same schedule the next week and they expect you to perform the same way, if not better. That's what I'm going through that entire freshman summer. In fact, let me show you guys exactly what, that summer did to me, right? When I got there, what did I say? I was 250, 260. This is what I look like, right? This is what I look like. This is a picture from one of our first workouts, right? You see how big I am? By our first game, November, I want to say 18th. It was between the 15th, 18th. I'm not sure. This is what I look like. You see the difference. I lost 30 plus pounds in 3 to 4 months. And that actually changed a lot in terms of what was happening in practice in terms of my performances. Like I said before, when I first got there, I had some size, plus I was athletic. So I was making an effect, in practice, because the bigs I was going up against we had a 6'9", 300-pound VCU transfer. We had a 6'10", 260-pound Michigan transfer. We had another 6'9", he was about 220 from VCU, another one. Then we had another 6'9", 6'10 big who was about 230, 240, who went to Iowa State straight out of high school, went JUCO, now is at Gulf Coast. So this is what I'm going against day in and day out in practice. So when I lose the weight, all of a sudden we get to practice and they get it on the block, they backing me down, and it's easy layups. I'm able to block some shots, help side, things like that. But for the most part, they're able to back me down. I'm low-key getting bullied at times. I really just look immature out there on the court all of a sudden. This is the part where I know a lot of freshmen will feel. So I come into college here. That summer I'm performing, I'm here. My confidence is here. We get closer to that first game. And obviously, like I said, I lost the weight. I'm starting to get bullied in practice. And all of a sudden I start to realize, wait, you're not about to play. Like, you're not going to play. So now my confidence is here. First game comes around, no minutes. Sat the entire game. That might have been the first game since I feel like since I started playing basketball where I was healthy and I did not touch the court. So I started playing basketball in maybe fourth grade. So from fourth grade to my freshman year of college, when I was healthy, I have never had a DNP. My first game of college, don't play. Now, and I mean, he ain't even look at me on the bench. It was like I wasn't even there. So my confidence at that point is shook. I'm not even gonna lie. I did get in our next game. I think we played, it was Siena, but we were way better than them. So I got 20 minutes. What those is you get in when you're up 20 and you get in when you're down 20, right? Next couple games, I'm getting those type of minutes. In practice, I don't know how this happened. I ended up rolling my ankle, high ankle sprain, right? I'm having a hard time getting back from injury. I can't even run. And this is where what they don't tell you about the training staffs in college. I had the training staff telling me that I wasn't hurt anymore and, I should have been on the court. So I'm really like, in terms of college basketball, I was off of it at that point. But in my head, I'm thinking I'm doing a good job masking it. Like I'm thinking I'm doing a good job staying cheery and looking positive. Coaches can see right through that, bro. So I ended up coming back from that. And, I tried to be more positive. I tried to, I'm talking to my parents at home. They never going to let me quit. So they telling me you there for a reason. I don't care what's happening. You need to push through it. It's a game day. We finish shoot around. We about to go upstairs to eat pregame meal. My head coach, pulls me to the side and he goes, yeah, B, obviously you've been hurt these first couple months. And I know it's been, a tough adjustment period for you, this and that. So, we decided that we think you should redshirt this year. Keep in mind, I hadn't had a conversation about redshirting prior at all. Like when I was on my visit, when I did any of that, there was no talk about me redshirting at all. So I was completely blindsided by this conversation, but this is my head coach. And what am I going to say? Oh man, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, okay, coach, that's cool. That game, that day, didn't dress. You guys got to try and, think about, what was going through my head at this time. I come in as the top rated recruit in the conference, right? I come in thinking I'm going to get all these minutes. I show up, I end up losing all this weight. All of a sudden I'm getting bullied in practice. I get hurt, roll my ankle. I'm having a hard time getting back from that. Training staff don't believe that I'm hurt at all. Then the head coach comes to me and is like, yeah, we think you should redshirt this year. At that point in time, I'm going to be honest. I'm like, bro, I'm off this. Like what? Like now I got a redshirt now? Like I'm going to just do what I want. So that next week of practice, I already knew I was going to be on scout team. If you guys don't know, scout team is, a team in practices. It usually consists of walk-ons, red shirts, freshmen who don't get minutes. And you go through, whatever team you're going to play, their sets and go play against your actual team live in practice, things like that. But here's the thing with scout team. It's very loose. If you played college basketball, the scout team, they can do what they want. Like they can really take whatever shot you want. You can really get off in scout team. So for that next week of practice, my mindset going into that next week of practice was, bro, I don't care. I'm just out here and I'm wilding. Because you don't think I'm good enough to play. You think I need to redshirt, but you told me when I was coming on my visit that I got a chance to get minutes, not that I'm just going to redshirt, right? So that next week of practice when I was on scout team, that might have been the best week of basketball I've ever played in my life. I haven't been a scorer. I was never a scorer. That week, Brian Thomas II was a scorer. I'm talking about I'm driving from the perimeter. I'm doing all this stuff. Like in my head, I was the best player on the court that entire next week of practice. And here's the funny part. Day or two after that week of practice where I knew for a fact I was the best player on the court, Brandon Goodwin was on that team too, who's in the league. For a fact, in my head, I was the best player on the court that week. Day or two after, coach calls me in his office. Yeah, we're actually not going to redshirt you. You can dress. So for all you freshmen who your coach might want you to redshirt or your coach doesn't give you minutes and you might be on scout team. If you get on scout team and you kill, and I mean, if you're on scout team and you killing starters, if your coach wants to win games, you'll play. If you are in practice consistently, I don't care if you are on scout team and you are killing starters every single day in practice, at some point, I promise you, If your coach wants to win, you will get on the court. So all of a sudden, I'm back in the rotation. Keep in mind, when I say back in the rotation, that doesn't mean 20, 25 minutes. That means 8 to 10 minutes a game. And for a freshman who's coming off of DMPs and was about to redshirt, I was happy. At least I'm getting in the game like 8 to 10 minutes. That's fine. If I play well when I get in, we might creep up to 15. So I was happy with that. We're about to play Middle Tennessee State at Middle Tennessee. Day before, of course, we fly in. We have practice the day before in their arena. You know, my assistant that recruited me comes up to me. He goes, you know, you've been playing well these last couple of weeks. You know, coach wanted me to let you know, like, you're going to get some burn this game. Like, you're going to play. So, you know, be ready. Be ready. And I'm excited. I'm like, bro, like, finally, like, I'm about to play. Like, yeah. Not to mention in that practice, you know what I'm saying? I was playing well. We get towards the end of practice. Remember that teammate I said that was 6'9", 300. He's running down the lane at me. He's coming down the lane. We're doing a transition drill or something like that. He's just coming down the lane. I put out my hand to stop him. Pop. I hear the pop, and instantly I was in shock because you guys got to remember, my senior year of high school, I broke my foot twice in the same place. Twice, right? I come to college, I lose the weight. Then all of a sudden I'm dealing with, I roll my ankle here. I do this, and that. Training staff doesn't really think I'm hurt. So all of a sudden the training staff and the coaching staff were already kind of giving me a side eye. Like, is he one of those players where he has like a little injury? He'll just sit out. He won't push through anything. I've never been that type of player. We're going to talk about that in a second. So they're kind of looking at me kind of sideways. But in my head, in that moment, it was like, bro, there is no way you're going to let anything, you know, be wrong with your hand. Like, even if there is something wrong with your hand, the coaching staff cannot know. So you know what I did? I continued to try and practice for like the next 15 minutes. And I'm talking about, I literally was trying to dribble, and like, I never felt this before. My hand was just really weak. Like, first of all, it was on fire, but I'm still trying to push through it because I'm like, I can't let them, you know I got hurt again because they're going to send me home. This is what's really going through my head in real time while I'm still practicing. At a certain point, I couldn't hide it anymore because I literally couldn't use my hand. Plus, the dudes I'm going against in practice are no slouches, and they know, like, all right, I'm probably was supposed to play this game, so they really going at me anyway in practice. Couldn't hide it anymore. I go to my assistant coach, right? I'm like, yeah, coach, like, I can't move my hand. Like, I just tried to practice through it, but I couldn't move my hand. He told me, he said, you sure? He said, like, you sure you don't want to, like, go back out there and keep trying? Like, keep going, keep going. I'm like, coach, I just, like, it's been, like, I'm pretty sure it's been broken for 15 minutes, and I've been trying to practice. He like, you sure? Like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. He like, all right. This part is when I realized, like, fully that college basketball, high school basketball, separate them. You can't compare them. It's nowhere even close, right? Because I go tell the trainer, yeah, like, I can't move my hand anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure I messed it up. I don't know what's wrong, but I can't use my hand at all. She goes talk to our head coach, and you would think that, the next course of action would be, take him to the hospital, get him an x-ray, especially if, I've been playing on it still, even with, like, I can barely move it. You guys know the stands in college basketball arenas, 360 going up and down. And the bigger ones, it might go all the way to the top, almost to the ceiling, right? They come back to me and they tell me, we're going to see how you feel in the morning when you get back to the hotel. We're going to ice it. But for right now, just run up and down all the stands in the arena. We were in a huge arena. So as I'm running, I'm talking about with my hand, I'm pretty sure something's wrong with it, right? I'm telling you, it's on fire still, and I'm running up and down the stands of the arena, and I'm thinking in my head, like, bro, this is really crazy. Like, I just said, and they had me doing this. College basketball is something entirely different, I'm promising you. I get back to the hotel, I ice overnight. Next morning, of course, I wake up, my hand is still swollen. I barely slept because any movement I made was excruciating pain. We go to the doctor, get the x-ray. Obviously, I broke my left hand. I'm out 4 to 6 weeks, and in my mind, what I'm thinking is, bro, like, they gonna want nothing to do with me. I was hurt in high school. Now I'm hurt here. I'm gonna get a label that's gonna carry me throughout my college career, so it's gonna be hard for me to transfer anywhere else. I'm thinking over these next 4 to 6 weeks, especially since it was still non-conference play. We had a lot of road games left. I'm thinking they're just going to leave me at home, like I was a red shirt or something like that, and they were just kind of just going to forget about me. I was sadly mistaken, right? So our head coach allows me to go on these trips, but I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to get to just sit on the bench and chill and eat free food, this, and that. I remember the day before a game, we're in the hotel. I think we just got done watching film. Our head coach says, but he's joking, like he's low-key laughing when he says it. He's like, I'll see you in the morning at like 7 a.m. in the weight room at the hotel. But he laughing when he's saying it. So I'm like, man, this dude funny. I'm like, yeah, he funny. Like, it's a funny guy. Man, I wake up with the next morning with the rest of the team because it's a game day. So it's maybe 9 or 10 a.m. Roll over, check my phone. My head coach at 7 a.m. texting me, where are you? When I tell you, my heart dropped, thought it was over with. Like, I'm like, oh, bro, like, I'm done. Like, I'm definitely out of here now. Get down there to breakfast. He like, yeah, where you at? I'm like, yeah, coach, I thought you was just joking. Like, you were laughing when you said. He said, oh no, I wasn't joking. Dead serious, straight face. Oh no, I wasn't joking. Go to the weight room in the hotel right after you finish breakfast. Give me 4 to 5 miles on the elliptical. Keep in mind, this is all with my hand still broken in a cast at this point, and I had to take a picture of the screen and send it to my coach. Right? And I had to do that every single day we were in the hotel at away games. This is real life. They do it because they don't want you to get out of shape. And I know they're kind of probably mad because I kept getting hurt. So they're like, yeah, he got to do something. He ain't going to practice. He got to do something. I come back from injury, but the difference this time is in my head, I remember 6-7 weeks ago, I just killed in practice, right? And I was about to play. So now I know that it's in me. Like, I know I can do this. I know I can play with these guys. So when I came back and I come into these practices, I had an added level of confidence, which kind of translated over to the court and then which translated into me getting more playing time. So I start to get on the court as a team. We won 15 games in a row, 15 games in a row. So in my head as a freshman, playing 9 to 10 minutes a game on a team that's won 15 in a row. I remember specifically we played Kennesaw State. I'm nervous as mess before. Like, bro, I hope my coach don't give me a DMP. When I got all my family coming to see me, it's basically a home game. This is their first time seeing me play basketball in college. I played 17 minutes that game, had 9 and 8. After that 9 and 8 game and 17 minutes in the midst of a 15-game win streak, I'm starting to think league. I'm gonna be real. I'm starting to think, boy, you might be league. Like, you putting up these numbers on a very good team as a freshman. You might have something. In the midst of that, I started to feel this little pain in my shin, right? Keep this in mind. I start to feel like this little pain in my shin. I'm thinking it's nothing. It's not enough for me to stop playing. I really don't feel it when I'm playing. Also, obviously, I broke my foot in high school. I broke my hand earlier this year. There is no way. I don't care what it is. I'm not sitting out. So I continue to play all the way up into the conference tournament. Conference tournament starts. Remember, like I said, we had won 15 in a row, a majority of those in conference play. So we're thinking we're not worried about anybody. We're thinking it's an automatic championship. It's light, right? And we were running through everybody. We ran through everybody we played up into that championship game. I'll say this, though, about those games before that championship. We're playing USC Upstate. I'll show the clip right here. And you can see, like, while I'm running, that I kind of had to rev up a little bit. It's kind of like I'm limping a little bit. My left leg, you see how I didn't get that high off the floor when I tried to dunk the ball. My left leg, when I jumped on that specific dunk, specifically running back down the floor, my shin, when I talk about like fire, pain, running down the court, alarms went off like, oh, are you good? Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you should have stopped months ago. Maybe I should have. Championship game comes around. We won't talk about it too much because it actually kind of makes me upset to even talk about it because, like I said, we ran through everybody in conference play when we get to the championship and we're playing Lipscomb. There's a player on the other team by the name of Garrison Matthews. I don't know if you guys know who that is. You know, he plays for the Rockets in the NBA. I got in for maybe 30 seconds. This is a tidbit for any freshman. When you get in big games, I got in for 30 seconds. I dropped one pass. I'm talking about it was maybe the 15-minute mark, I want to say, in the game, maybe 14-minute mark. Dropped one pass. Did not play for the rest of the game. I'm talking about I got in at maybe the 15-minute mark of the first half, dropped one pass, and didn't play the rest of the game, right? Back to Garrison. Garrison Matthews gave us 30 points in the first half. 30. Like, was some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. Deep threes. You see how he shoots it in the league? It was looking crazy that game. We're down 30 first half. What makes me so mad is, keep in mind, like I said, we had won 15 in a row in conference. Like, we were the regular season conference champions. I don't know if I said that. We were the regular season conference champions, projected to be in the tournament, supposed to get a good seed and everything. Down 30 first half. We cut it down second half to 6. So we shouldn't even been in that position. We cut it to 6. Obviously, they end up winning the game. So our whole team is distraught because we were easily supposed to win that game. We ended up going to the NIT, my first time on a charter flight. We played Oklahoma State. I played a little bit that game, but by that point we were all kind of so messed up in the head that we didn't get to go to the tournament. That honestly, as a team, we really didn't even want to be there. So we lost to Oklahoma State. Season ends. Remember what I said about my shin? So they give us maybe 2 weeks after the season ends to rest, right? No workouts, no anything. And in my head, it's like 2 weeks. Like I feel it. I still feel it even when I'm not playing, but I'm like 2 weeks, that's enough time. I'm not going to do any workout. Nothing impact. I'm just going to rest and recover. I'm going to be good by the time we start workouts again, right? In a couple weeks. Workouts start. The first workout I go to, I'll keep trying to jump and I'm trying to move. And it feels like someone is hitting my shin full strength with a hammer, but I still did not want to say anything because obviously I'd been hurt so many times before. And I'm like, bro, I cannot keep coming to these people saying I'm hurt again. Got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore and I had to say something. Plus it was like, it's the summer. Hopefully it's not nothing too bad. You'll probably be out for maybe a month and you'll be back in time for June, like summer workouts. You'll be back in time for that, right? We go to the doctor. He tells me, I swear, I get the x-ray, come back in. The first thing this man tells me is, you have something called a dreaded black line. This could have been a Kevin Ware situation. So when he said that, I was kind of taken aback, like Kevin Ware. If you guys don't know who that is, Kevin Ware is the Louisville basketball player who I think it was a while ago, a lot of years ago in the NCAA tournament, broke his tibia, broke his leg on live television. I was watching and it was a compound fracture. And what that means is his actual bone was exposed to open air. I'm pretty sure if you guys saw it, like you saw the pictures, it was looking crazy. My doctor told me if I would have, again, tried to be tough and tough it out and not tell my coaches and not do anything about it, if I would have kept playing a couple more weeks, that was for sure going to happen to me because I had something called a dreaded black line, right? So with a regular fracture, it's just a little small sliver that you can see going into the bone, and that's like a little stress fracture, right? Mine went from that little small sliver of a stress fracture to a full black line, like inside the bone that you can see. So again, if I would have jumped and landed the wrong way or cut the wrong way, my leg literally could have snapped. And so the doctor then says, you don't need surgery in 2 weeks or a week. I needed surgery ASAP within those next couple of days. So instantly in my head, I'm kind of sitting on the table like, bro, you got to be kidding me. Again, you guys got to remember, broke my foot twice in the same spot. My senior year of high school, I get to college. I'm supposed to redshirt, then I'm not. Then I break my hand. Now I have to have a major surgery. They're telling me they have to put a titanium rod in my left leg. A titanium rod in my left leg, and it has to happen ASAP. So it's kind of like a whirlwind at that point. Everything happened so fast. I won't get too much into the details of the surgery, of course, but I will say like they had to get a custom-made titanium rod because my tibia is really long, of course, and actually hammer it down into the bone. But I just remember specifically laying in my bed after the surgery. Couldn't feel my left leg at all. They gave me something, I think it's called an epidural, to even perform the surgery. And my leg was numb for 2-3 days after that. Couldn't feel it at all. Couldn't walk. My mom got to help me go to the bathroom. And I'm laying in the bed like, bro, your career might be over with. Your coaches might be saying, yeah, B, we support you. We can't wait for you to get back. But I know they're in their meetings, up in the offices, yeah, we can't trust this kid. He keeps getting hurt. He's a waste of the scholarship. Not to mention the head coach that I had committed to actually ended up leaving for another job. And this is a big thing that I also wanted to talk about in this video. When you make a decision to go to a school, make sure you talk to that coach about what his timeline is, about how long he plans on being at a certain school. Because like I said, I committed to one coach. After my freshman year, that coach decided to leave and take a better job. So at the time where I'm laying in the bed, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to play anymore. Now I have a new head coach. Luckily for me, it was, an assistant that got promoted. But I was also stressing at the same time, am I even going to be a part of his system? Because I committed to this head coach and he was telling me he had a spot for me, his vision for me. What is this new head coach's vision for me? Again, this is everything I'm thinking about as I'm laying in that bed. Really didn't know what was going to happen. I'm also thinking crazy stuff man, I'm setting off every single metal alarm in the airport. I'm not going to be able to go. I'm half cyborg. I got titanium rod in this leg. I got a pin in this foot. I don't know what I'm about to do. My whole body jacked up. I'm thinking through all of this. Rehab starts. And remember what I told you guys about college, college sports in general, what that rehab training process is or even if you get hurt at all, any extremity that isn't hurt, you're going to be working. So I had a rod in my leg. I'm recovering from that. I'm at practices on the bike, straight arms, miles. I had to do miles on the bike, all arms. All arms. And keep in mind, my recovery period was 4 to 6 months. So that's how long I was doing that. Rehab, we did obviously a lot of, isolation work for this specific leg, while also making sure my other leg doesn't get too strong, to keep a balance between the two legs. I'll tell you guys this quick story. I learned how to swim because of this. My trainer was like, yeah, let's go to the pool. Let's do a pool workout, obviously for rehab. She's like, you know how to swim? And instantly I just go, yeah. I did not know how to swim at all. We go to the pool. She's like, yeah, just do a lap, like down and back. Like just do a lap down and back. And I'm like, yeah, all right. But you know how pools are. It starts off shallow, then it gets really deep. But this was a college pool. So it gets really, really deep. So I'm like, I get about halfway and I see that drop and I turn around. I'm like, yeah, I was joking. Like I can't really swim. So I just had to do like half laps. I was doing that until I Googled, went on YouTube, looked up swimming for dummies. And, after that, I was a young Michael Phelps out there. So that's where I did a lot of my rehab, in the pool, swimming, running. It was good, get back in shape, get this weight off without putting a lot of pressure on my legs. So I was in the pool for a lot of my rehab. Obviously, by this point, the season had already started. So I think I made it back by early December. It was either the Colgate game or the Kaiser game. But that Kaiser game specifically, there's a video on this channel that says, my worst game ever. That was that game, because I tried to put one leg sleeve on my hurt leg and I thought I would look good. And I thought, shoot, it's my hurt leg and I don't care if I'm a big, I'm going to just wear one leg sleeve anyway. It ended up being the worst game I've ever played in my life. Like, go check it out if you haven't seen it, but that game was terrible. After that, though, I ain't gonna lie, my confidence took a hit, and then it took maybe about 2 or 3 more games after that before I actually got into some type of game shape. My legs kind of got back under me, but at the same time, something weird was happening, right? Year before, I shot 70% from the free throw line. When I came back in early December from my injury, 4 to 6 months out, all of a sudden I started that season 0 for 7 from the free throw line. I remember we're on the bus to an away game, and my teammates were like, you shooting worse than Taco Fall from the free throw line? This is when Taco's still at UCF. And at the time, I'm trying to play it off, whatever. But in the back of my head, I'm like, you what? Oh, yeah, something got to change. And that was the worst thing I ever could have did. I know they tell you don't do this, but I actually scrapped my entire routine. I think I started doing something I was doing back in high school, because I was 0 for 7. I was trying to do anything I could to try and find a way to make a free throw. It really got to a point where it was affecting me off the court. Like, I would have good games, because at the same time, when I'm struggling with free throws, I'm doing stuff like this, bodies. I'm playing extremely well at the same time, except for the free throws. So it's kind of messing with my head. And there would be times where, kind of like when I was younger, and I would be scared to catch the ball because I didn't want to drop it. So I would hide behind defenders. There would be times in the game where I'm like, oh, should I not go up here because he might foul me? And, I might have to go to the free throw line, and I definitely don't want to do that. But everything that was going on was like really affecting like my mental, like really. And I really felt stressed a lot of days, like, because all I was thinking about was, how can I make free throws? I'm coming in the morning at 6 a.m. and I'm shooting. I'm telling you, I've told people this. For some reason, they think I was lying. You can ask Coach Joey Cantens, who was in the gym with me that day, and Coach Marsh. I shot like 94 for 100, and I'm coming in the mornings doing this consistently. But when I get in that game, because you cannot simulate when the popcorn's popping, when I get in that game, I cannot shoot a free throw to save my life. So like I was saying, it was really weighing on me. So I started looking for, outlets for my stress. And this is where I started to go out a lot more and go to parties and things like that. Just anything to get my mind off of what's happening on the court. I really cannot make a free throw to save my life. By this point in my sophomore year, I'm a starter. Even though I'm struggling with my free throws and things like that, I'm still a starter. So when I am going out, I'm getting all this attention. Like the school was using me for social media posts, posters, all that. So even though I'm struggling internally, mentally, outwardly, I'm getting all this attention. Like I said, I'm still dunking on a couple people, so I still kind of feel good about myself in that way. And when I go out, I'm getting attention, so I feel good there. So that's where, honestly, we're going to be honest, that's where my focus started to move towards. At the time, I probably was like, no, I'm still focused on, I'm going to make these free throws. But subconsciously, my focus was starting to shift towards going out in the extracurriculars. I'm gonna be honest, I'll even tell myself a little bit, like there will be times where, especially at the height of my free throw struggles, where I would have a good game. Like I had a game when I had 12 and 7, but I missed 2 free throws. And I was sitting in my, dorm room with the lights off by myself, like really struggling. Like all I was thinking about was the free throws and how you embarrassed yourself. So at a certain point, it started to turn into, okay, how can you get your mind off of that? Right now, all I can do is go out. There will be days where, let's say we got a game on a Tuesday and I'm thinking, all right, what am I gonna do after that game? Like where I'm gonna go, where I'm gonna go out that night. Or get back from an away game on a Saturday at maybe 10:30. And I'm going straight from the bus to the apartment to get ready, and I'm going straight out. Like there would be, we're being honest here, I'm gonna keep it 100. And at the time, those didn't seem like big decisions for me. Like, yeah, we just played a game. Like I said, I've been stressed and I need something to do. So let me just go out. But those decisions were just opening the door for other decisions that I would make, later on down the line in my junior year that ended up, affecting my career completely. Rest of my sophomore year, I had good performances, I had bad performances, but one thing that was always consistently bad, them free throws. I never ended up getting over it, and I actually ended up started going out more and more and more. Season ends, we lose first round of the conference tournament. Of course, I put a part of that on me because now looking back on it, I wasn't focused at all. Like my mental was just gone by that point. So the season ends, and a normal focused basketball player would think, okay, your free throw percentage went from 70% your freshman year to 25%. So that's a really big drop. Something happened. All right, what happened to make your free throw percentage drop? Let's get in the gym. Let's work. You get hurt a lot. Let's focus a lot on your body so you can get a full season of no injuries, things like that. Of course, like I said, by this point, though, I was going out a lot. Like that was a lot of my focus was, okay, where am I going? Like I'm going here, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. We have our little 2 weeks off and then we start off-season workouts. And I forgot to say this. So probably around late January, early February, I started to feel like a similar twinge in my left tibia. I did say something and, they were saying like, it's probably just a soreness. Obviously, you just had surgery. It's not going to be 100%. That's a lot of what I was hearing. You're not going to be 100%, but, still keep pushing, we start off-season workouts and I'm hooping, right? So I probably got about a week out of off-season workouts in which I really felt like I had made a jump in terms of I'm starting to shoot jumpers in practice. I'm putting it down. I'm driving. Like I'm doing everything. Like I think this next year I'm about to make a jump. Free throws, we're going to be able to figure it out because my confidence was getting higher because I was starting to realize like you might be a bucket for real. Start to feel the twinge again, but this time I'm like, all right, let's say something again. It's the off season. We'll just go get it checked out, right? Get to the doctor, we get another x-ray. Turns out that my tibia, the fracture, never actually fully healed. So when I came back, I was playing that year, granted the rod was in there, but the actual fracture had not healed yet. From that point on, I was shut down for the rest of the summer up until the next season, because they wanted to make sure that I fully got it healed so it didn't snap at some point and become a Kevin Ware situation. And at the time, honestly, like I was blaming coaching staff, the trainers, like how y'all gonna let me come back and how y'all gonna tell me to keep pushing when it was never really healed in the first place. But now looking back on it, I don't put as much blame on them because I should have known, like, bro, you were just out 4 to 6 months and you want to go out, every other night and do this and that when you should be in bed letting your bone and rod rest. Like you want to do all of this, which isn't helping your body recover. You want to do all that instead of actually like chill at the crib and actually get healthy. So I don't blame them as much anymore. A lot of it was on me, but remember what I said, all of those decisions, like even for you guys, every decision you make, it might not seem like a big one at the time. There's a consequence to everything, whether that be positive or negative. You just might not see it in the moment. So for me, a lot of where I started to see those consequences was in my junior year. That's going to be the next one. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said before, my first 2 years were filled with injuries. I was dealing with some things up in my mind, in terms of free throws, was really struggling with confidence on the court, a lot of different things. We in that sophomore season, like I said, we into the summer. And then all of a sudden, when I feel like I'm starting to make a jump, my confidence is coming back. Oh no, we need to shut you down. The fracture in your tibia never actually healed. Even though you have a rod in it now, it never actually healed. We're going to shut you down for the rest of the summer so you'll be ready when the fall comes back around, when the season comes. I think I get cleared to get back on the court around August, September. So I'm back practicing with the team. Obviously, I got to catch up. I'm out of shape. I wasn't able to work out with the team over the summer, but at the same time, I wasn't feeling like, okay, even though I didn't work out, like somebody was going to take my spot. I'll be honest. I didn't really feel like there was a lot of competition, like somebody was better than me. Keep all of this in mind because this is kind of boosting my head a little bit. Around this time is where I honestly felt like I was the face of the program. I remember we would have booster meetings, just our boosters, the AD, our head coach, and me. I'd have to get up on the platform and give a little speech and answer Q&As. If there are social media posts that need to go out, videos, most of the time they're picking me to be in them. If there's posters around campus, most of the time I'm on them. I was really feeling myself at that moment. Keep all of this in mind. I was feeling myself. I really felt like I could do whatever I want and nobody was coming to take my spot at all. It gets to about October where in practice, I feel something in the back of my leg, but I thought it was my hamstring. And at the time, I'm like, okay, it's probably a hamstring. You probably just pulled it. You can go home and stretch. If it is an injury, it's probably not serious because before then, if I had an injury, it was usually going to be a big one, right? So I'm like, a hamstring pull, like that's nothing. We'll just go home, stretch, be ready to go the next day. Go to sleep, wake up. My knee is completely swollen, like completely swollen. It's hard to walk. I don't know what's going on. And of course, because of my history, the first 2 years, I'm not telling my coaches. Why would I do that? They definitely gonna kick me off if I tell them that. I didn't tell anybody except for not our main basketball trainer, but one of the assistants, interns. Yeah, don't really say anything, but I've been, struggling with this. I don't know what's going on. She was telling me yeah, just stretch this and that. Made sure I was stretching before and after practice. I'm wearing tights during practice so no coach could look at my knee and be like, why your knee looks swollen? I made sure that never happened. At a certain point, it was hurting too bad. I had to say something, had to tell the coaches. We go to the doctor and they say I have something called osteochondritis dissection. So usually the protocol is to take the pieces that are already floating around in your knee now. We can just take those out. Obviously, after all those injuries, surgeries, I wasn't going to sit out again. Maybe a couple days after that, I actually ended up making one of the biggest mistakes I think I've ever made in my life. And honestly, I kind of didn't even want to talk about it on the channel, but I feel like telling my story will help a lot of players. So let's talk about it. So this is still October. This is actually the night before our first official practice. I was in the dorm. The opportunity came to, go outside and smoke weed, right? For me, honestly, I'd never done anything like that before. Never in my life, never even really thought about it. Obviously, I didn't really have a lot of friends in high school, so I was never, social like that. Never even thought about it, but it was offered to me. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, you have been struggling with your free throws. And I'm pretty sure I saw something on the internet that said, oh yeah, if you do this, it can help your knee pain. And I had all of this going through my head. And I say that to say those were just some things I was telling myself because I really wanted to do it. But that's just what I was telling myself to justify it. Also, this was my first time. So I'm thinking, man, it's my first time. I'm not going to get in trouble at all. All right, whatever. Keep in mind, I feel like I'm the man. I can do whatever I want. It's kind of similar to when you see, NBA players, they all of a sudden start getting in trouble and stuff when they get to the league or when they're in the league for a while. When you get to a point where you feel like no one can tell you anything, you're the man, the world's around your finger, whatever, because that's where I was at. That's where you start to get into trouble. Plus, I'm also thinking it's my first time. I'm not going to get in trouble, whatever. And they're not going to do nothing to me, even if I do get in trouble because no one's going to take my spot. That was my mindset. Honestly, I was like, they're not gonna be able to do anything anyway. Go outside, I'm partaking, and I see a group of people walking my way or whatever. Instantly, I'm scared, have a conversation with these people who happen to be the RAs. So instantly, I knew I messed up. I knew I put myself in a situation I should have never put myself in. I was so mad at myself in that moment. I specifically remember being in that moment bro, you never doing nothing like this ever again. What were you thinking? You're stupid. Our coaches had told us before, if we ever get into trouble, just call them right away. Not try and hide it. Of course, I wasn't going to be that type of player. Act like nothing happened. I called my coach. It might have been midnight. It was late. Called him right away. Hey, coach. I did this, and that. I made a mistake, man. I'm sorry. On the phone initially, I was surprised because I wasn't getting yelled at, He's like, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna let you know where we're gonna go from here. I won't get too much into the details, but after that situation, after it got found out, obviously I had to have a meeting with the AD. All the gear in my locker was taken. I mean, everything. Shoes, jerseys, whatever, undershirts, compressions, all of it was gone. Couldn't practice that next day, but I was practicing the day after that, but I had to wear a penny and stuff I had from home. I was wearing shoes that I hadn't worn since high school because they took everything. Had to get up at 5 a.m. for 2 weeks and do work around campus. Had to present a PowerPoint to the team about the effects of marijuana. And in my head, I was already kicking myself bro, you made the dumbest decision you could have ever made. But I'm going to tell y'all this. Still at the time, I'm thinking, shoot, I'm in trouble, but what are they going to do? The big behind me isn't better than me. They still going to have to play me. Yeah, they mad at me, but still they gonna have to play me, right? I get through all the consequences. We get to the first game of the season. Keep in mind, my knee is still completely jacked up. It still hurts really bad, but I'm just continuing to fight through it, play through it, because I'm like, bro, like I'm not sitting out again. It doesn't really matter. And I just messed up. I'm definitely not about to sit out, because then I'm definitely not getting back in the rotation, because they just gonna remember what I just did. I played the first half for the first game of my junior year. We get to halftime. I go to the locker room. The trainer sees my knee and says, "You're done." I tried to fight. "Oh, no, I'm fine. I'll put on a leg sleeve. I'll do this, and that." "You're done. You're having the surgery right when we get back," because my knee was that big. She told me verbatim that if I would continue to play, I probably would have torn my ACL in that game. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to sit out. Get back, I have surgery, and like I say all the time, college is a business. The best skill you can have is availability. So I wasn't available, so guess what? That player who I thought, oh, he's not as good as me, it doesn't matter, all of a sudden he's starting to produce. He's starting to play well. They're starting to play him more and more in the games. And I got my teammates telling me, when you come back, I don't think they're going to give you your spot back when you come back. Like, I don't think they're going to. But I'm telling my teammates, bro, y'all are crazy. I come back, and they were completely right. They were completely right. I'm getting DMPs. And when I say DMPs, literally just like it was in high school, walk down the bench, look me in my eyes, and pick somebody else to go in the game. Those type of DMPs. So I'm really starting to feel it. And at that point, instead of hunkering down, okay, Brian, you made a mistake, then you got hurt, this is why you're not playing, you need to get back in the gym, you need to make sure you're performing every day in practice to get your spot back. I'm like, okay, y'all won't do me like this, forget it then. I'm really about to do what I want. So I'm really going out, because I wasn't really playing like that. I'm going to be honest. Like, I really wasn't caring about the team a lot. Bad decision after bad decision. All of a sudden, I show up late to film one time, and we in the hotel, had a DMP that game, and I completely kind of understood that. I was mad at the moment, but I can understand it now. I was late for film, didn't play that game. I'm just making all these little mistakes, but the only person I'm really trying to blame still is the coaches. I'm telling you, I was still trying to blame the coaches. Oh, they doing this, they doing that to me. I can only look at it now and we're like, bro, everything that happened was your fault. Adding insult to injury, there's a little party that I was at, and there was drinks at the party. Somebody took a video and I wasn't even facing the camera. They saw my back in the video while I was facing the other way, but obviously I'm tall. They already knew who I was. I got another meeting with the AD, so I'm getting in trouble again for something. On that second time, I kind of actually did. This was later on in the season. In the conference play, I'm like, all right, bro, like you really wilding out here. Like, I don't know what you think you're doing right now, but you about to mess up the opportunity that you've been given. So I tried to get back into it, focus a little bit more. Actually started to get back in the rotation as we started to get further in the conference play, further toward the conference tournament. As the season comes to a close, I started to get back into it. Our last game of that season, conference tournament, I had 8 blocks in that game, and I thought I was back in all the coaches' good graces. Like, oh, they love me now. I just had 8 blocks. I'm showing that my legs are back. I'm back healthy. I'm this, and that. I know I made mistakes, but they're going to give me a chance my senior year to, make up for it and really produce. Walking to my end of season meeting, I won't get too much into it. I thought they were going to say, we have this role for your senior year. I walked in there. They said, we talked to your doctor, and all of us together don't think physically you can continue to play basketball. You can stay here. We'll still give you a scholarship. You just won't be able to play on the team. You can help out. And I'm just sitting there like, bro, I just had 8 blocks, and I played the last how many months of the season. So you can see I'm healthy again. Like, what's going on? I wasn't outwardly mad about it. I was just like, okay, I'll put my name in the transfer portal. That summer, because that was the summer that COVID hit, we actually had to leave campus, I think it was in March or April. So it was from around that time all the way to when I reported to my new school in August, all the mental obstacles I had to go through trying to find a school. I want to go D1 to D1, but I'll be honest, my options weren't amazing, especially right out the gate. For me, when I put my name into the portal, I didn't get a phone call that first day. On that second day, I got a phone call from one D1. But this was also at the time that was literally a couple weeks before they passed that one-time transfer rule. I'm talking to coaches on the phone, and they asking me if I'm a grad transfer. And I'm like, yeah, coach, I'm not a grad transfer, but in a couple weeks, did you see that one-time transfer rule? None of those coaches who I was on the phone with were willing to wait those extra couple weeks to see if I was actually going to be eligible. But one thing I was getting was calls and texts from D2s, D3s, NAIAs, and because I was a D1 basketball player, I thought I was too good to go D2, NAIA, D3. I'm like, man, I'm coming from D1. I'm not going anywhere other than D1, right? Until them days started to go by, and them days started to turn into weeks, and them weeks started to turn into months, and I still didn't have anywhere to play, and I had no D1s calling my phone. So I was like, okay, I have to humble myself and I'll just go D2. So you know what I decided? I was going to go through my phone, find the best D2 that I liked. I ended up picking a D2 in California, and I'm like, that's where I'm going. I called the assistant coach and I'm like, hey, coach, I'm coming. And he's excited and he's like, oh, yeah, B, I'm going to call the head coach right now. He's going to give you a call. We're so excited. Then all of a sudden, some time went by. Then some more time went by. Then some more time went by and the head coach still hadn't called me. So I'm like, all right, what's going on? Like, why they acting all weird? Like, what's happening? Assistant coach calls me back and you know what he tells me? Yeah, B, so we actually just went back through the scholarships and turns out we actually don't even have any scholarships available for you. Like, I'm so sorry. I appreciate you wanting to commit to us, but we just don't have any scholarships available. So I hang up the phone. Of course, I'm sad. I'm mad. I don't know what I'm going to do because it's getting closer and closer to actual basketball season, and I don't have a school to play at. And the worst part about it was about a week, 2 weeks later, I'm on Twitter and I'm scrolling. They ended up signing another big man, which is why I'm telling you guys, to anybody in the portal, you cannot be too proud. Your ego cannot be too big because there are only a certain amount of spots regardless of the level. What happened next was I was just going back through all my voicemails because I had done that 100 times already, but I hadn't heard any schools that I was really interested in because remember, I was so set on going D1. So I'm going back through them because the D2 told me they didn't want me. I'm going back through them. I'm listening to all the voicemails. And for one particular voicemail, the first time I heard it, I thought it said Alabama State. I wasn't too interested in them. But the second time I heard it again, I heard Grambling. I'm like, Grambling, that's in Louisiana. If you guys didn't know, I'm from Louisiana. Also, that school is only 4 hours from my grandma. So I'm like, okay, that's perfect. That's where I'm going to go. So I get to Grambling State. Keep in mind, my knees and my entire body feels fine. For that entire summer when COVID hit, I'm talking about, I think I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. I was that dedicated. I woke up every morning, was running. Then I'd come back after running, do yoga. Later on that night, I'd go to the gym. And I was doing this every single day while staying in a caloric deficit so I can lose weight, so I can try and take pressure off my knees, off my body. So hopefully I can get through an actual college season without getting hurt at least one time. I actually did end up tweaking my other knee before I got to campus from doing all those workouts that summer. So I had a little minor procedure before I got there. When I got to campus, I think I lasted maybe 2 weeks before both of my knees were crazy swollen. I'm talking about like I got to get ice and stem every single day. I can barely walk. Like barely walk. I got this video right here of me in the training room with ice and stem on both knees. And I was doing that every single day just to be able to practice, just to be able to work out. At that point is where the thoughts started coming in my head like, man, you should have just stayed at Gulf Coast. Like they were right. They might have went about it wrong, but they were right. Your body obviously couldn't handle this. But, you know, I still tried to persevere. I was telling myself, no, you're going to prove them wrong. We still going to push through the pain. So I'm still practicing every day until this one day we have weights and I'm sitting there and my knees are like completely swollen. Like I can barely do the workout. Like I said, I can barely get through practice. So after practice, I can't really do much. So I can barely do the weights. My knees are like going crazy and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, bro, like I don't think I can do this anymore. You know what I did? I texted my head coach and I said, hey, coach, can we have a meeting right now? I go to his office immediately. I sit down with him and I literally tell him straight up, man to man, face to face, like, hey, coach, you know I committed to your school and, you know, I came into this completely ready to play, but my body, my knees, the pain, I think I'm done playing basketball. And after that, we had a conversation and he was letting me know how much he believed in me and how much he believed that I can really do it. Because even though my knees were hurting, I was still producing in practice some way, somehow. He was like, I really think you can do this. Take the weekend, really think about it, talk with your parents. Took the weekend, talked with my parents about it. And I really decided like, okay, no, you really gonna prove everybody wrong who said you really couldn't play anymore. You're gonna do this regardless of the pain, regardless of what you gotta do. It's only 1 year. At that point, I kind of knew professionally it wasn't gonna work because I could barely even get through the college season. But I was like, just 1 more year and you got this. 1 more year, you got it. Once my mindset changed, all of a sudden, my legs weren't hurting as bad. My knees weren't hurting as bad. Practices were getting a little easier. Maybe I was just getting used to it, but all of a sudden, when my mindset became more positive, the pain wasn't as bad. The season starts, and like most schools and low major conferences, your non-conference schedule at first is going to be mostly high majors. I can't remember all the teams we played, but we played Arizona, Texas Tech, Grand Canyon. And I played in these games and I played pretty well. Like I'm talking about, I got dunks in every single one of those games. Those couple plays are some of the most proudest basketball plays I've ever made in my life, because that just showed to me like, okay, I pushed through it and I was producing against high major teams, against high major talent. We played Mac McClung, who was on Texas Tech, Dalen Terry, who just got drafted in the first round. Also Christian Coloco was on Arizona. Jordan Brown, who was a 5-star in my class, was also on Arizona at the time. And I'm producing when I'm out there on the court. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself as we start to get into conference play that, okay, I'm about to be an all-conference player and I'm finally going to have 1 year when I can reach my potential. We play those first 7 games, go home for Christmas break. It was a 3-day break. 3-day Christmas break. My grandma, of course, is only 4 hours away, so I just make that little drive over to her house for Christmas. Usually when I go on break, I do some type of exercise just because I know with my body I have to do something. I can't just, when I come back, jump right into it. But for some reason, I was like, nah, like it'll be okay. You've been hurting for the entire preseason and for these first 7 games. Like it's okay. Rest your legs for 3 days. You'll be okay and ready to go when you go back for that first practice. On December 26th, I drive back. We have our first practice back that night because we played in those next couple days. We're doing some drill and I feel a pop in the back of one of my knees. And, you know, I kept playing through it because, like I said, my entire mindset for that year was you're going to push through any type of pain. It doesn't matter. You proving everybody wrong. You're going to have 1 year when you can actually get through it, at least kind of injury free. I felt it, kept playing, kept practicing, finished the practice. I go home, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just ice this. Like I said, I'll just take ibuprofen in the morning. I'm gonna be ready to go. It's good. Wake up the next morning, that knee swollen. When I woke up and I saw that is honestly when I knew my basketball career was over. Like when I woke up and I just looked at my knee and I got off the bed and I'm trying to walk and I just feel how stiff my knee is, how much fluid is in it. And I'm like, I'm done playing basketball like that. Like that was really it. Like that was really it. Go to the gym, go talk to the trainer. Hey, like this happened. Already was some level of communication between me, our trainers, and our coaches about, okay, sometimes Brian might have to sit out some days because of his knee. So I told her like, okay, we'll go get it checked out. Just tell him like it's bothering me a little bit, right? But I sat on the floor before practice started when there was nobody else in the gym, just sat on the floor and I'm looking up and I'm looking around the arena and I actually started to cry. Like I started to cry when I was sitting on the floor just by myself, just looking around the gym because I knew before I even went to a doctor, before I even got an x-ray or anything, I knew like it was done. Like it was over with. Like my career was over. We go to the doctor. They say, okay, you broke off another piece now that's floating around in your knee joint. You can take out that piece and, you know, you'll be out for a couple weeks and you can come back. But, you know, it didn't make sense for me at that point because it was just going to keep on happening. I had a conversation with our head coach and I really appreciate him for this. He told me like, yeah, I appreciate what you've given us. For the rest of the season, I need you to show up to every practice, every workout, every game, and make sure that you're there to be that senior leadership. Even though you're not playing, you can still have a leadership role on the team. So that's what I did for the rest of the season. And honestly, it was a humbling experience. All of a sudden, I went from a Division I starter at a mid-major school to a person that's not playing at all at a low-major school. And I was the person who at media timeouts, I brought out the chairs for the players to sit on. When it was a timeout, I brought waters to my teammates. And I'm telling you, like, that was so humbling for me because it was so hard to be able to go from up here and all of a sudden, I feel like I'm down here. We go through the season. You know, at that point in time, I was really lost for a little bit. I decided to go take a trip back to Florida Gulf Coast, right? Just to be with some of my old friends, you know, have some fun. When I came back to Graham, my teammate, my roommate had already moved out. A lot of my teammates had already started to go back home. And this is where the stories are going to start to overlap with literally one of the first videos that I ever made on the channel. I'm sitting in my dorm room by myself. Graham obviously isn't in a heavily populated place. So I'm sitting there in my room by myself. I feel pretty isolated. All of a sudden my car breaks down. Sitting in my room, can't really go anywhere. Turn on the TV, turn on YouTube. I watch Gary Vee for 3 straight days and my YouTube channel gets created. Go check out my first videos if you guys want to see. When I first started, I literally just put a white screen, searched up on YouTube, white screen, put it on my TV, put my camera right there. And I just started recording, telling the stories that I'm telling you guys now. I just really wanted to tell you guys this story because there were a lot of things that went on throughout my career throughout my life so far that I feel like you guys can learn from, so you guys don't make some of the same mistakes, and also be able to learn some new things about how things really work in the basketball world.